To Major General Stephen Wickstrom for being here tonight with that very fitting tribute to Lieutenant Richard Rand, killed in action 60 years ago this year. And also to the members of the George L. Wood Post and Legion, American Legion, thank you, of Upton for being here. Thank you. And I'm glad we got a nice photo of all of you as well. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Scott Garland. I'm the president of the Upton Historical Society. I'm here to introduce my brother, Lieutenant Wayne Richard Garland, born 1947 and raised here in Upton. I believe there's a almost co-birthday boy with us tonight. One day apart?
Yeah, I was born on May 1st, Wayne was born on May 2nd.
So Stephen Johnson was born on May 1st and Wayne was born on May 2nd, and they lived within how far? Half a mile. And now Stephen lives across from where my family home was on Christian Hill Road. Richard, my brother's middle name, it's a significant name for Upton. It honors our grandfather, Willie Richard Fretz, who grew up at 4 Plain Street, Upton, and made part of his living as a cranberry farmer on the flats at the base of Snake Hill and up along Christian Hill, where my brother Wayne grew up at number 31. You know, it's a large Victorian, still standing, built 1884. It's where my family were busy raising upwards of 50,000 chickens. And my mother's great stories of, because her and Phyllis were the younger children, they'd have to do all the dirty work and prepping the chickens. And my dear Aunt Doris would turn the other way, as my mother would say, Doris got to be in the kitchen. She had the easy work. That big barn burned in 1947, the year my brother was born. From early on, Wayne was engaged in his community, including many years as a Boy Scout with Troop 136, Upton. Well, I think it was, were you 136? 132. 136 must have come along a little while later. I apologize for that. He was very active with his class of 1965, serving as their president, a position that he still takes seriously today. He just gets in the car, drives up for meetings from South Carolina. As a young boy, he managed a paper route that took him hiking several miles every day. He excelled at Nipmuc Regional High School and accepted an invitation in 1965 to attend Clemson University in the Industrial Engineering program. While at Clemson, he enrolled in the Army ROTC program. Wayne experienced a setback during the summer vacation of his junior year, being hit by a drunk driver in Provincetown, an accident that nearly took his and his passenger's life. The year lost, in retrospect, may have actually saved his life, as he was to be deployed to Vietnam. Excuse me. That deployment took him deep into the conflicts of that country. While in Vietnam, he was promoted to second and then first lieutenant, a platoon leader in the 196th Infantry Brigade, 23rd Division, U.S. Army. He experienced all the tribulations of those soldiers who served there. One day under fire, he lost his radio man. Excuse me. While in field, Wayne wrote to me about his experiences. Excuse me. And he would send me souvenir patches, Vietnamese coins, and one day he sent me part of the tail of a tiger that had blown up in a landmine. Writing to me was a release that he needed in the field. I kept a scrapbook filled with news relating to his experiences there. As an 11-year-old, I understood the dangers he was facing, and we all prayed that he would return. Wayne never talked about Vietnam after he returned home, until one day he saw that his local VFW was in danger of collapsing. He took over the reins and resurrected the group. That was his new hometown of Walhalla, South Carolina. This is a story about a native born who grew up in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s during a transitional post-World War II baby boomer era when families were discovering prosperity following that war. From here, I will let Wayne tell his story. My brother, Lieutenant Wayne R. Garland. Sorry about that. Should have had somebody else do it.
When Scott is talking, I'm always somewhat terrified of what he's going to say because you never know what's going to fall out of his mouth. So while that is emotional, and I feel that emotion also, I'm thankful that he didn't say anything really ugly. So we'll move on from that. But I would like to digress for just a moment before I get into hiking, because I want this to be about the beginning, my beginning in Upton, and what I feel happened to me in my first 18 years here, which basically developed who I was to become and why I'm where I am now, traveling the world. And it's something I very much enjoyed, but the basis of me doing that started here for 18 years. And I think it's very appropriate tonight that this being presented by a historical society is now a historical event, and you are all here to witness this historical event, which is really a big deal because, as the general said, the two most dangerous things in the world is a general with a microphone and a second lieutenant with a map and a compass. And I'm here to tell you that I went over to Vietnam as a second lieutenant, and yes, I had a map and a compass. So all of you get to experience that unbelievable coincidence of being together tonight. But I digress from that, and I will say, as I get going, I planned this for about an hour, but I tend to ramble. So I would hope to get done in an hour or a bit later than that, and I would not be, it's not a problem for me whatsoever if you get to the point where you feel like you need to get up and go. It's okay with me. I would ask that maybe you could last maybe 5 minutes, but beyond that, if I get a little deeper, then it's okay if you just can't stand it anymore and you're ready to go. So this is about my life here as I grew up in Upton. I look back at it now, and I'm not sure we realize that. And can you guys all hear me? Okay. You know, I look back on it now, we really, our formative years was in the 50s. And so really we kind of lived in the Norman Rockwell era. We really didn't realize it at the time. But as we were growing up, you know, we had to borrow knowledge of the Lebanese war was our war. You know, it lasted 8 days, right? Kind of different than what we deal with now. But we had a wonderful life, and this became a wonderful life here. My life dwelled toward being outside. And I can tell you the environment for all of us who lived here during that time, we spent every day outside. It was all about walking, hiking, playing the whole deal. I mean, Walhalla even had a nighttime siren that went off at 9 o'clock. And that's when we would go home. We didn't have to say a word. Parents didn't have to call us. The whistle went off. We went home. We were so good. We were really good kids, right? So, but I'll tell you, the basis of who I became really boiled down to my parents. Yes, Bunny. I
Go to the beach.
Oh, I don't know. I can't swim. I didn't go to the beach. So my parents were just absolute avid campers. You know, we had the big old military canvas tents. They smelled terrible. You put them in heat. You spend the weekend in all the state parks around here. We were camping constantly, all the time. And so with that, I really developed a love of going out and traveling. I don't know why I remember this, because I was about four years old. But I remember one day arguing with my mother because we were home. We lived in a big old 3-story house at the intersection of Pearl and Christian Hill. My dad worked on the road as an iron worker, so he was gone. I remember telling my mother, let's go. We can't stay home all day. I need to go. I want to go now. I'm sorry, Wayne, we got to wait until your dad comes home. No, let's go now. I finally, in anger, turned and wheeled down the hallway of our 2nd-story house and went back into my bedroom. To this day, I don't remember going to the bedroom, but a few moments later, I came back as this. This is me, March 1951. I am ready to go on a trip. As you can see, I have a hat for hiking. I have big old boots on my feet. You can't hardly tell, but in my right hand is a suitcase. I am ready to travel. Unfortunately, I forgot to put any clothes on. But this is my first recollection of I need to travel. I want to travel. I don't want to sit still. So with that, I would say there's no question in my mind that my life from the very beginning was all about being outdoors. I've been in South Carolina now for 61 years. I've had a wonderful life there. I have a wonderful family with 5 children. I've had a successful career. But in my mind and in my heart, home is still here. I spent 18 years here, my formative years, graduating from high school before I went to Clemson. When I think about the happy thoughts of growing up, it's all about here. When I think about the friends we had on Christian Hill, it's all about here. When I think about this unbelievable class through high school that I was with, and we shared so many memories up until 1965, I think about here. Tonight, before we had this session, we had a get-together for that class. There's about 58 of us left. 14 were there tonight on the drop of a hat, and we were together eating dinner, and they're here tonight. So I thank every one of you for being here, because it makes me more comfortable to be here. So the aspect of living on Christian Hill was unbelievable. The kids, we were all outdoors. I mean, my cousin and best friend forever, Kathy Rooney, she lived 1 stone wall away, and she's sitting here with me tonight. We have traveled the country. We have shared so much over the years. When I need somebody to talk to now, I call Kathy. She also won the award on the Hill for having the most restrictive parents in Upton. They ruled with an iron thumb. Up the hill was the total opposite. A good friend, John McNaughton. I don't know if you know John McNaughton. I remember him. He had the least restrictions set by his parents. He didn't have to do any rules whatsoever. He was the wild one you were almost afraid to be around. You just didn't know what John was going to do. He still holds the record for having knocked out the most streetlights on Christian Hill Road. He holds the record for the most frogs harassed from Johnson's Brook that ran down through our property. He holds the record for the number of times bleeding from having done something totally stupid because he was out of control. So John's the wild one. Kathy, my best friend, has also got Dad watching over here every minute. Ida's 2 stories away. She's here tonight somewhere. Where's Ida? Okay, Ida would live 2 stone walls away, and just yesterday, she admitted that she also knocked out a street light